What's up, everybody? We are here. We are live, and we are on our last episode of 2020, the final episode of the dumpster fire, which is the year 2020. This is Mission Accomplished, the only spot where combat sports meets combat vets. I'm having a hard time getting a hold of my featured guest tonight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a sip of my beer. I'm gonna calm the fuck down, and I'm gonna have the one and only Michael Hunold come on here, and me and him are gonna get right into our end of the year Mission Accomplished MMA Awards. Here he is. He is everybody's favorite mixed martial arts analyst. His name is Michael Hunold. What up, dog?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Mike Hunold in the house. Can you hear me? Is my sound a little better than when we did the sound check earlier today?
Yeah, it's good. I can hear you.
Okay, thank God, because it wouldn't have been a 2020 closeout episode if I didn't have a shitload of fucking problems today with my audio and my headphones and my microphone. And what I think I pinpointed the sound problem is the cord to the microphone was something fucking loose with it. So I had to like jam it in there and then tape it. And they got rid
nice.
of all that echoey bullshit. So anyways, what are you up to, Mike? Where you at?
So actually right now I am in a pretty cool place called Babcock Ranch, which is like a fully sustainable town in Florida that has like a few 100,000 solar panels that run the city, the town square. There's Wi-Fi wherever you go in this town. It's like a new place, a new development here. It's pretty cool. They got like houses from like 200 grand to like 800 grand.
So is it better than the Bunny Ranch?
I doubt
it. Oh, so we got some people already in the chat room. My nephew Ashton's here. What up, Ashton?
What's going on, Ashton?
Go get yourself a job. And Queen Margaret's here from the Roundhouse. Hello, Margaret.
What's up, Margaret?
We're gonna get right into the 2020 Mission Accomplished MMA Awards. What a fucking year it's been, huh, Mike?
It's been insane with COVID going on and Fight Island, and it's just been crazy. And like you said, dumpster fire of a year, just a number of things.
In a dumpster fire of a year where all the other sports were scrambling and trying to figure out how to keep going, the almighty UFC, Dana White, put on his work boots and said, I don't give a fuck, and just continued on.
Yep, kept on trucking. Maybe at the ire of some people. There's been some people who have been upset about it. Some people have been happy about it. I've been happy about it. I know everybody who's an MMA fan is really happy about it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Kyle, can you turn your mic up? You can't hear it? How about now? If I get closer to the mic, how's that sound? Nothing more.
You sound good to me.
Than the Bunny.
You always sound good to me.
All right, yeah. All right, let's get right into this, man. The year was full of fucking awesome shit, and we're going to start right off with the knockout of the year.
Yep.
And our nominees are, I'll go with the first, then you can go, and so on and so forth.
All right.
The first one, and like next year when we do this, we'll have highlight reels and shit, but the first knockout of the year candidate is Joaquin Buckley's spinning back kick on Impa. Say his last name.
Kasangane.
Yeah.
Kasangane.
He threw a kick with his left. Impa grabbed it. He did a WWE Heartbreak Kid spinning kick that only would work in a fucking movie or a fucking Tekken video game.
Yeah, like Tekken Tag Tournament, ninjutsu kickflip trick or something.
Right. Go ahead with the second one.
All right, the second one is Kevin Holland, as you put it, murdering Jacare off of his ass. I don't know how you generate power from your ass, but he did it, and he fucking leveled him against the fence, sent it into the stratosphere.
It was that was one of the most amazing things I ever seen because of the position he was in. He was definitely in the defensive position. He was on his ass and he was struggling. And Jacare was kind of winning that fight from the top position, and then boom, unbelievable. Our
Yeah, it was
next man,
fantastic.
yeah, and the way Jacare was on his knees, folded backwards, looking up at the sky, dead. It was just incredible. The next nominee for Knockout of the Year is Cody Garbrandt. Buzzer beater, walk off, right hand on Rafael Assunção to end the second round of their fight. Cody's comeback fight. The timing, everything about it was amazing. That, you know, you got to love Cody Garbrandt with that one.
Yep.
And our last, go ahead.
Our last pick for knockout of the year is Sugar Sean O'Malley with a walk-off right hand on Eddie Wineland.
Right. And that was a pretty slick one, too. And it was his second knockout of 2020 at that point. He had a nice head kick knockout earlier in the year. And then he was trying a few little spin head kicks and whatnot on Eddie Wineland. And then he, like, fainted to the body and then just cracked him with that straight right hand and then turned around and walked away like his job was done. He just punched the clock back out.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. Super calm. Just walked around, gave his blessing,
yeah, just oozing freaking confidence.
Yep.
So
Oozing
what?
machismo.
And now I'm gonna say our winner here. Now me and Mike sat down last night and we went over all these nominees for all these categories, and we know that the masses are gonna pick Joaquin Buckley
Yep.
because of the absolute, like the you don't see that kind of shit. You don't see that very often. That's an
There was a lot of
unbelievably
flair,
a lot of flair, unusual knockout. But for us diehards here, our boy Cody Garbrandt is the winner of the knockout of the year, and there's many reasons why. Go ahead and tell what you think was so special about that knockout.
So he backs up Cody Garbrandt. He backs up against the cage. He bends down about waist level, so he's like a 90-degree almost. Grabs the fence with his right hand and almost pushes off to get a little bit of leverage. It's almost like he used the fence to push off, and he stands up and wham, right hook. Asunciao is out. And I mean, it wasn't even like a quick thing. Like he took his time bending down, holding the fence, and it came out of nowhere. It was like it was like something out of a Japanese anime, like some like we were saying earlier, like a Tekken. It's crazy the amount of force that he put on that chin. I mean,
Yeah, it was
Asunciao was done. He
dude, and
felt like a rag doll.
it was like Cody, like you just said, it
Super
was like out
Saiyan.
of a. I just turned up my mic just by the way for those in the chat that are saying I'm a little quieter than normal. I turned my shit up a little bit. Um, it was like you said, out of a video game. You could have saw his hand start to glow as
Right.
he was ducking and avoiding the strikes. Beautiful head movement by Cody, ducked down just right, and the preciseness of like the precision of that strike on the chin put him to sleep, and then he walked away just like Sugar Sean did. Our fight of the year, I mean, our knockout of the year goes to the man himself, Cody Garbrandt. We'll have sound effects next year too.
Yeah.
So our next category would be comeback fighter of the year. And now I went through and we have 5 nominees for this one. Oh shit, hold on. Or was it okay, comeback fighter of the year?
Sure.
First one up is I went a little out of order here, Mike.
Yeah, you're good. I'm with you.
Okay. First nominee is Neil Magny. Missed all of 2019. Went 3-0 in 2020, beating 3 pretty stout opponents, the best one of the 3 being Robbie Lawler. And Neil was actively calling out Hamzat Chimaev when everybody on the planet was just avoiding that guy. They didn't want to take that risk, and sitting at number 7 or number 8 in the welterweight division, Neil Magny doesn't turn down any fight. So he was like dying for that one. And he'll be fighting Chiesa coming up in January. So very
Yep.
active in 2020, looking to stay very active in 2021. Neil Magny's our first nominee.
Also a fellow veteran, right?
Yeah, very cool.
And guess what? The next one is the Sugar Show. Once again, coming off of a 2-1 year. We've already talked about the walk-off Eddie Wineland, and also he had another KO, and his year was then cut short by an injury, which kind of stinks for him because if he didn't get that injury, he probably would have been able to get in there again, maybe fight a little more. But he did have some nice KOs this year and very memorable, and hopefully he can get back in there and get some more
Yeah.
KOs.
Yeah, I mean, he took a hard loss to Cheeto Vera, but he
Yeah,
blamed it on blowing his knee out or whatever. And who knows, man? Cheeto was getting him a little bit in that fight anyway. Sugar Sean came back big after not fighting in 2019. Our
right.
next nominee is probably wouldn't land on most people's list because of how good his 2019 was. But Glover Teixeira went 3-0 in 2019, fighting all stout opponents in 2019. But the way he went 2-0 in 2020 catapulted him back into the title picture by absolutely mollywhopping frickin' Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, and then taking out Thiago Santos in 3 rounds, submitting him in the third. Glover just looked better than ever, stronger than ever. At 41 years old, went from a top 10 contender to a top 3 contender in a course of 2 fights, wiping out 2 title, perennial title contenders. So that would be our next guy
All right.
after Glover. Who you got?
So the next one is a man we just spoke about, and that is Cody Garbrandt. He only fought that one time, but he was coming off that 0-3 horrible skid, doing not good, and I was kind of feeling bad for him because I was like, I don't know where he goes from here. But he gets that knockout, and unfortunately, he couldn't fight against he couldn't fight against Figueiredo. But hopefully he gets better, and that'll be the next fight that we see with Figueiredo. That's what I'm hoping for. So he's our next nominee for Comeback Fighter of the Year.
Yeah, Cody. He made a lot of noise with that one fight, so he had to make it onto the list. And the last guy, I know for a fact he's not landing on anybody's list, but we're diehards here, and we've known Bobby Green for years. Bobby Green lands on our nominee list after going 1-5-1 in his last 7 fights. Bobby Green comes out in 2020, fights 4 times in 5 months, goes 3-1, beating Clay Guida, Lando Venata, and Alan Patrick. The dude looked better than he's ever looked. Fought 4 times in 5 months. Bobby Green lands on our list. With that being said, he's not our fucking winner.
He's
Our
not the winner.
comeback fighter. Yeah, no. Our comeback fighter of the year. And somebody in the chat room said it has to be Sugar. But we here at Mission Accomplished disagree. Now, when it come to me and Mike really debating this and breaking it down and figuring out who the comeback fighter of the year is, for us it came down to, as weird as it sounds, Glover Teixeira, who went 3-0 in 2019. Glover just stepped up to another level this year in a way he hasn't in a long time. But our winner, we agreed on Neil Magny.
Yep.
So,
Yes, we did.
yeah, Neil Magny, 3-0 in 2020. Wanted to fight Kamzat or Hamzat, however you want to say it.
Yep.
He wanted to fight him. He wanted to fight Chiesa. He got that fight not until January, but Chiesa was one of those guys that was real funny about not wanting to fight during the pandemic. So when it comes down to comeback fighter of the year is our fellow U.S. Army veteran, our guy Neil Magny. Sorry, whoever that Facebook user is in the comment section that wanted Sugar Sean to win, that's saying what? I don't know who you are because you didn't grant permission for me to see your name, so I would love to debate it with you. But it's not Sugar. And a reason why I kind of like faded Sugar out of that is the way he acted after the loss to Cheeto. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, it was he acted a little immature and a little, I don't know, saying he's still undefeated and all that shit. That pissed me off. I
And
would
Magny didn't fight at all last year. And
right.
the fights this year he did all within 6 months. So 3-0 in 6 months. Didn't fight last year, and he will be fighting very soon. And he's now the main fight. So
Right. And you know what? The guy in the comments section that was vying for Sugar Sean O'Malley. Um, I believe one, he's a casual, and two, his name is Sean. His name is Sean Mead, not Sean Weed. Sean Mead, not the good weed. Sean Mead in the chat room says he wants Sugar Sean, but if we ask Sean Mead to name us 10 fighters in the UFC, he would struggle by the time he got to number 7. Breakout Fighter of the Year is our next category, and this one had some killers in it. The first guy on our list, Kevin Holland, went 5-0 in 2020. Absolute monster.
yep.
Knocked out Joaquin Buckley. Just put a nail in Jacare's coffin. He's our first nominee for Breakout Fighter of the Year.
All right. Our second nominee for Breakout Fighter of the Year is Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere. I feel like nobody knows who he is, right? He fought 3 times and barely got touched. 196-2. That's a strike count for him.
In 3
That's
fights.
pretty impressive.
That's incredible. And his first 2 fights were 10 days apart from each other. People got to remember that.
Yep.
This guy came on the scene in his first fight. Nobody knew who the hell he was. Murked this dude.
Yeah.
Outstruck him, like
124 to 2.
to 2. And then came out 10 days in the ring after
Yep.
his first fight, says, I'm not leaving Fight Island. Give me somebody else. The UFC asks him, can you fight up a weight class at 185 in 10 days? He says, let me have it. He goes out there and outstrikes the dude, like 68 to nothing?
Yep.
Or
68 zip.
68 to nothing. And then
Yeah.
he comes out 2 months later in Merck's Gerald Mershard in 17
Four
seconds?
4
40
strikes
seconds?
to 0.
Yeah. How long was that
And
fight? 17 seconds or something?
yeah, it was super
It's
fast. It was
unbelievable.
so fast. Mearshot didn't even know it started.
Now, yeah, Mershard. Mershard looks like he's sleeping half the time. Um, so our next nominee is weird because this guy just keeps popping up all over the place, man.
Yep.
Sugar Sean O'Malley. Um, and now we put him in the Breakout Fighter of the Year because 3 years ago when he showed up on the scene, he was kind of starting to he had a buzz around him.
Yep.
But he didn't do anything to actually blow up to get everybody to know who the hell the Sugar Show was, right? So then Sugar comes out and goes 2-1 this year with 2 highlight reel knockouts to start his campaign in 2020, and it looked like it was going to be the year of Sugar Sean O'Malley, but unfortunately he got cut down by injury, and that's our next nominee for Breakout Fighter of the Year. And we have one more nominee for Breakout Fighter of the Year, and then I'm going to bring Sam Alvey on, and we're going to talk to him for a little bit.
Nice,
right?
nice. So we go 3 and Sam Alvey, and then 3 more. Huh?
Yep.
Perfect.
So say who our last nominee for for Breakout Fighter of the Year was.
It is Yan Xiaonan. Can you say that? Say that with me. Yan Xiaonan.
Yan Jonan. Yeah, I know who
Xiaonan.
she is. I can't say her name very well.
Yeah.
But I know that she blew up and she went from like number 10 in the division to like number 3 right now, and she's primed
Yep.
and ready for a title shot.
2 unanimous decisions against Gedalia and Kovalevich. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's tough, man. But Unfortunately, she does not win our breakout fighter of the year. It has to go to the one and only Kevin Holland, 5-0. He active in the likes of Donald Cerrone and Sam Alvey himself. 5 fights in 2020,
Yep.
unbelievable.
Under 8 months.
Congratulations to in under 8 months, unreal.
3
All right,
KOs,
Mike,
1 sub, 1 decision.
and he killed a legend. So let me go
Yep.
ahead and let you go for a little bit. I'll bring Sam on, and
I'll
we'll
be
we'll
here.
talk in a little bit. All right, buddy. All right, so we are halfway through our end of the year awards, and my guest of honor is in the green room right now. You will know him from his 20 plus fights in the UFC. This man fights about as often as you turn your TV on. His name is Smile'n Sam Alvey. What's going on, man? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh. I can hear you. Ruh-roh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear, yeah.
Okay, I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry I'm late. I screwed up the times. I thought.
No problem at all. Let's see.
I don't even see him. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. We are having some technical difficulties with Sam. Do you have headphones? Do you have earbuds? No. Let's see what's happening. Sam just dropped off. Let's see if he can come back on. He couldn't hear me, but I can hear him. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Margaret says she can hear both of us, but the problem is I can't have a conversation if Sam can't hear me. You know what I mean? So let's give him another minute. Sam's coming back on now.
I hear you now.
Yeah, all
I
right,
can hear
Sam.
you.
Hey, how you doing, Sam? What's going on?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really good. My name is Kyle Mish. I have this show, Mish'N Accomplished. I got a fighter and a veteran on every show. And
hey, and I'm so sorry I was late. I mixed up the time. You told me as plainly as possible, and I still thought it was at 7 p.m. my time.
Oh, no problem. No. That what I'm learning, because I'm brand new to this podcast game, right? So this is literally my 9th episode ever. I started on Veterans Day this year. The pandemic, has been rough on a lot of people. 2020 has sucked in a way, but for me, I've spent a lot of time at home with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I've converted my wife's office into my own studio, and I started a show.
Oh, that's nice. We should have pandemics more often.
Yeah. I don't know if she's so pumped about me taking over her office, but I soundproofed it and got all this equipment and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do this for years, and I get to talk to really awesome people. So, so how's training going, man? Were you were you training? That's where you're at?
I was playing my Nintendo Switch and watching Kingdom.
Oh, dude.
That's all I was doing.
Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the best shows of all time. I mean, it's a top fiver in my eyes.
Yeah, you know what? I'm disappointed in everyone because my last name is Alvey. The main character's name is Alvey, and nobody ever told me.
Oh, you know what? I even thought about asking you if you're getting royalties from the show.
Yeah. No. I took some film of it, and as soon as it happens, oh my goodness, I'm famous, kind of.
Oh man, that's awesome. So for all those who are watching I can't imagine anybody doesn't know who you are because you've been around forever, and I mean, you're one of the staples at the UFC, constantly in the ring. They throw you anybody, and you never turn them down. This is Sam Alvey, Smile'n Sam Alvey. As you can tell, he's always smiling. What do you got? 49 pro fights, 49, 20 plus in the UFC?
Yeah, that sounds right. And then I've got a bunch of professional Muay Thai fights that aren't anywhere.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Notable victories over Richard Evans, Nate Marquardt, Jan Vellante. I could keep going, but you got a
Yeah,
ton of. So this guy is awesome. If you guys are not following Sam Alvey on social media, you are making a huge mistake because I was perusing your Instagram and your TikToks, and they're freaking hilarious, man.
Oh, I love TikTok. I'm fairly new to that. I think I got into it in May. Now I'm just addicted to it.
Yeah, it's great, man. So you have quite a big family, right? You got
Yeah, I've got 5 kids, 4 of them biological, one I'm adopting. Then my wife and I, and we're just one big happy family.
That's great, man. And how did you get it? So you were fostering a child, correct?
Yeah, and we're still technically fostering her, but within a month of it being a legal adoption.
That's
So we're just thrilled to have this little one in our family.
that's great, man. And your Christmas, how was that?
Oh, it's beautiful. We were out in Tennessee. There was, it was just wide open America. It was beautiful.
So being you and being like the one of the most active fighters on the roster, almost year to year. For those who don't know, you tie the record with Donald Cerrone for most fights in under a 12-month period, which is
Angela Hill's on that list now too.
oh, is she? Did
But
she make it this year?
yeah, she made it this year. But I got there 2 months faster than her. However, this new bloke who's fighting Derek Brunson next, he's smashing our records. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I keep secretly hoping he gets hurt in practice to have to pull out of his next one.
Kevin Holland is who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's smash. His next fight's going to be 6, and I think it's going to be faster than I got the 6.
you know what it is about him too. He has charisma. He has power. He has like everything you can ask for an up and coming like next big star is
Yeah,
Kevin Holland.
6 fights now in what 5 months, and he just smashed everybody.
The
So
way and the way yeah, go
what's
ahead.
it's very cool watching him come up like that. I'm jealous.
Right. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be? The way he finished Jacare, like the guy's an absolute legend,
Off
and
bottom, that was crazy.
off his butt, which I don't know if I've ever seen. I've been watching it since UFC one, and I don't remember ever seeing anybody knock somebody out from the mast
I
before.
said that too, and then somebody who knows more about UFC fighters than me said, "Oh, what about this guy?" I said, "Oh, okay, well then that guy too." So apparently, there's 2 guys that finished him with hammer fists like that.
Hammer fist from the bum. Um, what's next for you? I saw that you just got a new contract.
Yeah, I signed a new contract with the UFC. I don't have anything lined up yet, but I'm hoping it comes soon. I'm hoping I get my management, my wife is reaching out to them probably yesterday or today. And if I can get in that cage in February, that would be just magical.
Yeah, February.
Hopefully they give me somebody who's not on a 12-fight win streak.
Yeah, you had two wars this year, huh? You had a unanimous decision loss, right, and then a split draw.
Yeah, and I think I won both of them. I know I won the second one. I think I won the first one, but I gotta get better judges. But judges have to get better. I'm so sick of watching them score 10-8 rounds like they're easy to overcome in MMA.
Right. And then like you get the Angela Hills of the world that you watched her 2020 campaign and like her her 4-0 year was absolutely robbed by the judges. And
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, and it's I somebody told me about this idea, but I believe Joe Rogan mentioned it somewhere first, and I just love the idea. Instead of 3 judges, have 15 or 10 or 8 or 5. Just have more judges. Then you're going to get the shitty judges. Who cares? The
Right.
shitty judges will just be shitty judges, and their vote will get countered.
Are you, are you familiar with the Verdict app? There's an app you can get it in the app store. It's called Verdict.
I have heard of it, but I'm not really aware of it.
It's like you got to be a pretty diehard MMA fan to even have that on your phone, but because if you're not if you're not like completely committed to these fights, then why the hell would you have this? It is you're judging the rounds as they go for every fight on the main card of every event, and almost instantaneously, as soon as you rate it and submit it,
Mm-hmm.
within like 5 seconds, it like pulls the world.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and like it'll show that throughout the world, 9.8 for this guy, 9.2 for this one over here. So
Yeah.
75, yeah, 75% of the world think this person won. Well, I would say 75% of the world thought that Angela Hill won against Gedalia,
Hmm.
and I would say about 60% were on her side for the Watterson fight. So
Yeah. Let's see. I'm part of something called the Scoring Senate. They've got, there's about 15 of us every card, but it's ex-fighters, current referees. There's current fighters because I'm in it too, that are just judging round by round. We've only done main cards so far, but he's getting ready to have us do the undercards too. And it's been so much fun. We get a text chain going into the whole fight. We're kind of texting each other, watching these fights, and it's we have not gotten a fight wrong yet.
right, and you're a bunch of fighters, right? So
Yes, it's Frank Triggs in there, so they've got the current referees in there too. Nate Marquardt's in there. It's really cool, kind of getting to talk to these guys a little bit during the fights.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense that the judging isn't ex fighters and stuff like you guys. They got
Mhm.
some states you go to, you got boxing judges in there
Isn't it the
judging it.
same judges that go around the world? I mean, it's the same judges everywhere we go, I believe.
Is it?
I think.
It's yeah. They
And I wish the judges could be fired. I think that'd be another good way of getting rid of the bad ones. Is just fire them. I hate 10-8 rounds. I don't think there's any use for them, but incredibly rarely in MMA. And I hate them. And these judges are just throwing them out over nothing nowadays.
all right. Uh, when you so when you were coming up on your new contract, were you even close to being intrigued by what's going on over at Bellator with their light heavyweight division? Because
I, I love watching Bellator. I like the PFL, One FC. One FC is hard to watch because it's always on in the morning, like early morning. But
yeah,
I love what all these companies are doing, and they're all driving the UFC's pay upwards too, and it's really cool to see.
yeah, they're putting together a my nephew's in the comment section saying that you have a huge house because you've been moving around.
Yeah, sorry about. Like I said, I mixed up all my times. I thought,
Nah, it's cool.
I, so I was just getting ready to go back to practice.
Yeah. So, yeah. What do you put about 8 hours a day in the gym?
4 to 8, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I wish I could do that. I'm still full time for the army right now, so
Oh yeah, you've got a harder job than I do. I get to go and hang out at the gym all day.
I I,
You've got to do stuff.
I would kill for that. I mean, as you can see, I'm not working a lot these days, and I had to go to work for 2 days this week, and I hope none of my bosses are watching, but I wore a full face pandemic pandemic mask to
Yeah.
cover up my beard because you can't have a beard in the army.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, we're the only army in the world. Like you deploy overseas and you see 25 other freaking countries soldiers at the same base as you, and they all have beards. But the Americans, we gotta be clean
Hey,
shaved.
we've got the best military in the world. Maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, you're right about that. One video that you posted on Instagram and TikTok recently really caught my attention, and it's because you talked about the Jake Paul, Conor McGregor call out, and you mentioned in there that he should have called out you because it would be much less douchey. But then you said something about training. Did you train with Jake Paul?
Not Jake, but Logan Paul.
Logan. Okay.
Yeah, I watched him train. I got to train with Logan, and they were great guys. They really were. They're very much bros. They were athletic, um, but it was a fun afternoon. I wish I got invited back.
Yeah. He doesn't really truly believe that Conor McGregor and Dana White are afraid of him,
Oh
though,
no,
right?
no. I mean, I don't know him well enough. I'm sure. I mean, they're rich YouTube guys, so I'm sure they've got yes men surrounding them, and everyone's like, "Well, he's terrified that a YouTube guy could possibly beat him." And I'm sure he's got people I'm sure there's no one around him that's honestly saying, "Yeah, Conor McGregor's gonna whoop your ass."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And they're saying, well, you're bigger than him. He's going to have to come up to 80 instead of 70 or 55. And he's scared because one bad or one lucky punch could drop him. Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of yes man telling him that, but he doesn't have a prayer.
Do you follow other combat sports other than mixed martial? Like, do you pay attention to boxing and?
No, I've started getting into that bare knuckle boxing. That's just too much fun. But yeah, not really. I always tell my amateurs because they all ask. I said I spend all day fighting. I said when I get home, I don't want to fight. I don't want to look at fighting. I don't want to do any of that with fighting.
Bare knuckle, like you said, that's really picking up steam fast. And I tell everybody, like, you watch one BKFZ event and you are hooked. You'll get completely drawn in by one event. They put a good product out there.
You know what I think it is I think it's a bunch of guys that kind of know how to box going at it. There's no real technique. It's just kind of swing hard and fast, and the punches are hard and fast. So I've had a blast watching those guys.
Yeah, I actually I've had a couple in the short stint of this show so far. I managed to get Joey Beltran on here, and
I've trained with him. He's very good.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. And also, I got the English boxer there, Tyler Goodjohn, was on my last episode, and he's the one that was all tattooed with the long ponytail hair. Yeah, he did a whole interview with me from his bathtub in Vegas last week. It's pretty interesting. So what I do here, I do a speed round. We do 10 questions where we get to know the fighter a little more, because I got a lot of people that are casual MMA fans, but they like this show, so they watch, and their favorite segment is always the speed round because I ask off the wall questions, and and are you still there, Sam?
Oh, can you hear me? You froze,
your
sir.
face is. Oh, your face froze. I'm looking at the side profile of Sam Alvey right now.
Hello.
Hello.
You're I don't know. Oh, can you hear me? You're back.
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't. You're not moving.
Yeah, you froze on me too. Can you see me now? Oh, I'm moving.
No, I'm moving too.
No, nothing.
But
You want me to call you back, sir?
well, yeah, if you want to. If you want to jump off and then jump right back on.
Yeah, if you just want my voice, I can do that too.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't we? I'll just knock these questions out, and the first question that I have for you, sir, is what is something that you do in your spare time that might surprise people?
I played trumpet for about 20 years, so every now and then I still get back on that horn and toot a little bit.
Nice. I actually read that, but most people wouldn't know that about you. If you were not fighting for a living, what would your career be?
Well, I went to college, graduated at college. My plan was I always wanted to be a gym owner, but like a lifting gym. I still have that desire, and someday I will still have that be part of my career. But that's what I'd be doing now is I'd have my own gym, like a 24-hour fitness or, Sam's Fitness Palace. So something like that.
Sam's Fitness Palace sounds pretty good. Do you have a favorite movie?
Yeah, The Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman? No way.
Greatest Showman. I love. It's something. That's something where to be. I love musicals. Like my top 3 favorite movies. I've got The Greatest Showman, then I've got The Matrix, then I've got Moulin Rouge. So in my top 3, I've got 2 musicals.
Wow, interesting. I love it. I'm a big comedy guy myself, so I would go with comedies. All right, here we go. Say the first word that pops into your head when I say each of the next following names. Ready? Anderson Silva.
Perfect.
Gina Carano.
Dan Henderson. Cyborg.
Justin Bieber.
Cyborg.
All right. Is your Christmas tree still up?
I never really had a Christmas tree this year. We went to Tennessee for most of Christmas, and we didn't want our tree to be rotten at home. So we have like a live tree that doesn't have any decorations on it. And that is still up, but it was never decorated. And it's like I don't know, 3 foot high.
Oh, like a little Charlie Brown tree.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Other than fighting, what was okay? Other than fighting, what was the best thing about Fight Island?
I'd say the food, except I didn't get to eat much of it. The beach was really nice. The beach was just beautiful, and it was the right time of year. It wasn't 114 degrees. It was like 95 to 100. It was comfortable enough. I still had to hide in the shade, my ginger self. Um, but it was comfortable and it was nice. We got to go down and just relax on the beach pretty much every day.
No way. So my next question is kind of funny because you already answered it though. My next question for you was, what are your thoughts on bare knuckle, and would you ever consider bare knuckle fighting?
I would absolutely consider it. Ideally, I spend the rest of my career here in the UFC because I love the UFC. I love everything I do. But if I had to, I would happily take off the gloves and go fight.
Yeah, you toe the line as they call it.
Yeah, and I would break both of my hands immediately, and I would still throw them. And it would be so much fun.
Awesome, man. Marvel Avengers versus Justice League. Who wins?
Justice League, hands down. Superman is the game changer. I mean, he is. He in his description, he can't be beaten. I mean, he's got the plot armor of his plot armor is better than Batman's.
Man, me and my kids debate this a lot, and I'm like, you got the billionaire playboy on both sides, Iron Man and Batman. You got Thor versus Superman. You got, I don't know. It's like, I could agree with you. Superman is definitely the game changer, but
Yeah, and Wonder Woman's not far off of Superman, and then Aquaman's not far off of Wonder Woman. So
yeah, but
DC has just got the more power lineup and worse movies.
for sure. But I think Captain Marvel can stand with Wonder Woman any day of the week.
Yeah, she would probably be Wonder Woman. Although the Flash is, I mean, he's faster than time. He could probably take care of anyone he needed to.
Awesome. Now this next question is really hot on the internet right now. I don't know if you've heard this, but it popped up in the last couple days, and it is what is a restaurant that you thought was really nice as a kid that as an adult you realize isn't really that nice?
Pizza Hut. I still love Pizza Hut, but I do understand that it is not high quality pizza.
That's hilarious. I said I think that question was made for Red Lobster, but I could be wrong. And the funny thing is, I was just telling my wife when I was a kid, we used to go to this Chinese restaurant called Golden Palace, and me, my brother, and my sister always thought it was the nicest, coolest place ever. But it turns out once I hit adulthood that it's exactly the same as every other Chinese restaurant in the country.
Yeah.
It also happens to be like the underage drinking spot for that town.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I argue with my wife. Good Chinese food and bad Chinese food tastes about the same to me. I think they've got the same recipe for all of it. Every Chinese restaurant in the world, that's about the same recipe.
That's awesome, man. And our last question before I let you go, I ask every single guest that comes on here in the Karate Kid Cobra Kai saga, are you Team Johnny or are you Team Danielson?
Could you say that one more time?
In the Karate Kid Cobra Kai saga, are you Team Johnny or are you Team Daniel?
The Karate Kid. In Cobra Kai, I've switched teams. But Karate Kid, I'm Team Daniel. I know there's that edit going out on screen right now that made Danny look like the punk, but he was not the punk. He was self-defense most of the time. Johnny's girlfriend had already dumped him. Danny was standing up for it. Hey, Team Danny all the way.
Yeah, and I love how in Cobra Kai, in the first season, they had Johnny and the kid, his little protege there. They were sitting on the sidewalk, and Johnny was explaining about how much of a bully Daniel was in high school. It was hilarious.
That might be my favorite show on TV right now.
Right.
I think the new season comes out here soon. And I
Friday.
can't wait. is just such a good show.
Yeah, and you know what? You said you were binge watching Kingdom?
Yes.
One of the best characters in Cobra Kai is also one of the best characters in Kingdom. Keith from Kingdom is Stingray in Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'm that far yet in Kingdom. I've only finished, I think, 5 episodes so far. But
Okay.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
You'll know Keith once you get to know that show a little more. Before I let you go, get back to the gym. What do you got going on with you outside the cage? You got any pod? I mean, you got a hell of a pod. I mean, you got a hell of a personality and a hell of a social media presence. Is there going to be like a Sam Alvey podcast or anything like that?
You know, I had one for a little bit. Actually, I had one for a long bit. It was the Pound for Pound podcast with me and Jordan Killian. And we had a great time with it. We probably did it 2 or 3 years. The problem is I've got a decent personality, but I am terrible at asking people questions. I'm really not good at it. And it was, thankfully, I would be the color commentator. Jordan was great at asking questions. He was wonderful at it. And I got to add my 2 cents. So we had a really good thing going. But without Jordan, it would just be me kind of talking too much. And so maybe someday I'll get back into it. I'll find he had twins and he just ran out of time. And then I've got 5 kids. So between the 2 of us, we can never schedule an afternoon to do it. Yeah. Yeah, maybe someday I'll get into another one again. But for now, I'm just loving TikTok.
Yeah. What about a cage side analyst? Does UFC ever talk to you about it?
They haven't. I wish they would. And maybe if I ever win a fight again, I'm gonna have to hit them up because I think I would be great at that. I think I'd be great sitting next to Joe Rogan, just throwing in my 2 cents. Or like Trevor Whitman, he comes in maybe fight, come to 3rd round and throw in his. I think I would be great at something like that.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And don't even worry about being late. You're the guest of honor on this show. I'm just a guy sitting behind a microphone. So,
well, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for your forgiveness too. It was needed. And anytime you want me on, you just hit me up and I will be there on time.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you so much, Sam Alvey. You have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the day in the gym.
Hey, I appreciate it, sir. We'll talk to you again.
All right, take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. That was Smile'n Sam Alvey. You could tell, dude. The guy's always happy. He's always smiling. And if you don't know Sam, you go back and watch all his fights. He smiles in the damn cage. He's getting punched and kicked and still smiles. I mean, he'll turn it off for a minute to knock someone out, but the guy's always smiling. He's always happy. And obviously, he's a very good human being to foster a child and then and now adopting that little girl. So good for Sam. A really good human being. And I'm going to go ahead and bring our boy Mike back on and finish up these awards. What up, Mike?
Hey, what's up?
What'd you think of Sam Alvey? He's a good dude, huh?
Yeah, he seems like a really good dude, for sure. And like you said, always smiling. Every time you start talking, you say something, he starts smiling.
Yeah, it's
hence
funny
the
how
nickname.
It's like yep, Smile'n Sam. And
while I was sitting here, I noticed that the background kind of looks like Joey Calderwood's tattoo. You see?
Of your...
Oh, the wrong way. This way. You know, she got the tattoo on her shoulder of the person, and there's birds flying out of her head.
Yeah, it's
right?
just like scattered birds all over her arm.
Yeah, like this. Oh, this side.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what are you in? You're in the Jojo Calderwood Airbnb down in Bunny Ranch, Ranch, Florida.
The guy who owns this place did all this by hand. This is wood. It's not even paint. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Wrong side. This side. This is backwards. It gets tough to figure this out.
Yeah.
This he did by wood. That's all wood.
Really?
Yeah, he cut it all out. There's a tree behind me too, if you can see it, and it goes all the way to the floor. It's pretty cool. All personally made.
Very impressive.
It's very neat.
Oh.
We're the same height. Look, we're the same height.
We are the same height. That is neat. Yeah, it does, Mike. Amy says, yeah, it does, but I'm going to say that Amy in the comments has no idea with JoJo Calderwood's tattoo. Looks like she's absolutely full of shit. Just
She might have just Googled it real quick.
oh, maybe she's talking about how the opposite shit gets a
Oh
little
yes, yeah,
tricky.
it's weird. I gotta get used to it. And you know what's funny is like if you watch Ariel in DC, every single time he starts the show, he says this is DC, but he's pointing this way,
And
and DC's
he's
like, "You
pointing
ever
the
gonna
wrong
get
way.
this right? You ever gonna get this right?"
Look at that. I'm pointing at you right now, dude.
Yeah, me
Boom,
too,
boom,
like
boom,
this.
boom.
There you
Look at
are.
that.
We get.
Let's
Oh,
gingerly touch tips. Look at this.
oh,
Oh
oh,
boy,
we've become
that was
one.
a couple flaunt. Never mind. Let's not get into that.
All right.
All
So
right, let's finish these awards out, and then I'm gonna go put my kids to bed. Female Fighter of the Year. Our nominees, ladies and gentlemen. The first one, Zhang Weili. She went 1-0. She only fought once, but she probably fought in the greatest women's title fight in the history of MMA against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That one fight alone and her stardom trajectory, how big she became after that fight as the champion, puts her in the running for Female Fighter of the Year.
yep. So our next nominee for Female Fighter of the Year is Angela Hill, who you were just talking about. Fought 4 times, would have fought 5 times, but she got COVID. One is 2-2, but 2 of those, as you already discussed with Sam Alvey, are up for debate. Maybe you can say up for debate. They're not for debate with me, but they're up for debate with other people that think that she lost those fights because she probably didn't. So she should be 4-0. She was the first African American woman to be in the main fight on a UFC card. And as Sam Alvey was just saying, she bested him in Neil Magny by fighting 6 times in 11 months. So, and she was also a commentator and on Joe Rogan's podcast. So how about that?
Dude, she's all over the place.
Yep.
She really became. I think she's like my favorite female fighter now. Joanna Jędrzejczyk held that title for a long time with me, and it's right now it's between Valentina Shevchenko and Angela Hill for my favorite female MMA fighter, which happens to be our next nominee for Female Fighter of the Year, the 125-pound champion herself, Valentina Shevchenko, who went 2-0 in 2020. She had a third round TKO over Caitlin Chukagian, and then she absolutely dominated Jennifer Maia for a unanimous decision win. Defended her title twice in 2020. She may have lost one round against Maia. Maia grappled her pretty well, took her down and whatnot. But other than that, I don't see anybody even close to as good as her in the strawweight division. So Valentina Shevchenko continued her reign at the top of that division. 2-0 in 2020. She is the third nominee for Fighter of the Year.
Nice. So our next nominee is Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg, 2-0 in 2020. She beat Julia Budd for the Bellator Championship and became the first female fighter, or any fighter. I mean, it couldn't be male because she got
Invicta.
Strikeforce, Invicta, Bellator, and UFC. But I don't think that anyone else, any male fighter, has done Strikeforce, Bellator, and UFC. Am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong.
No, I think there's been a Bellator and UFC, but never Bellator, Strikeforce, UFC.
Yeah. Well, Gegard Mousasi never held a UFC title. So Mousasi held a title in Strikeforce and Bellator. Yeah, you're right, man. Dude, Cyborg, I agree 100%. She deserves to be on the list. She fought twice in 2020. Bellator didn't even start putting on fights till like halfway through the year. I don't know.
It took a long time.
Right. She's amazing, and I really wish that she would have had a second chance with Amanda Nunes, but that's never going to happen anymore. And our last nominee for Female Fighter of the Year is Yan Xiaonan.
Xiaonan.
2-0 in 2020, like we said earlier. She was on the bill for up for breakout fighter of the year, but she also is on a female fighter of the year. Went 2-0, beat Claudia Gadelha and Karolina Kovacevic, who are two absolute monsters. Won both of them by unanimous decision. She's now 6-0 in the UFC. She went from number 10 in the division to number 3 in the division. And really, if Rose Namajunas is not mentally prepared for another title reign and doesn't want that fight against Wei Li, and Joanna's not fully recovered from her alienism or what, or whatever you want to call that the swollen head, that shit was crazy. If she's not ready to get back in there quite yet, I could see a Yay Jone, whatever. I can't say her name, and I apologize big time for that. But her versus Wei Li, Chinese fighter versus Chinese fighter for the title at 115 pounds, man. Maybe the UFC goes ahead and drags both those girls over to go over to like Beijing or something, puts on a show.
Yeah, that would be
You know?
awesome.
With that said, the winner of the Female Fighter of the Year goes to everybody's new favorite female fighter. Let's be honest, this girl's the shit. Her name is Angela Hill. It had to go to her. She should be 4-0. Should be 4-0 in 2020. She got absolutely hosed by judges. In the Michelle Watterson one was a little closer, but we can both agree that we thought she won that one.
Yeah.
She absolutely won against Gadelha. No, not Gadelha. Is it Gadelha?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gadelha.
Gadelha.
75.5% of people who scored this fight on the website I was showing you earlier, 327 people scored it. 75% of them thought she won. Also, 13 of 17 media members, and we know one of 3 judges and you and I also thought she won.
Right. So the two
says
judges
something.
that were sitting ringside playing on their phones while this fucking fight was going on. You know what I mean? Half the time these judges, I've been talking to these fighters and they all tell me the same thing. When you look over at the judges, half the time they're not even paying attention. They're looking down at their phones or they're doing this and that. So judging is really a problem. Angela Hill should be 4-0, and if she did not catch COVID, she would have fought a 5th time against Tisha Torres. And Angela's on the top of her game right now. Who knows? Because Tisha Torres looked good too. She could have potentially gone 5-0 in
Could have,
2020.
yes. Yeah, and
So,
then I mean, she'd be on it. She'd be well on her way to title contention very soon, and she should be.
Yep. Absolutely, dude. And that brings us to the Male Fighter of the Year. And the nominees for Male Fighter of the Year. The first one up is the reigning, defending strawweight champion in the men's division. Flyweight, my bad. Flyweight, Jesus Christ. Flyweight, Devison Figueiredo, 4-0 in 2020, beat Joseph Benavidez twice. Defended the title against Alex Perez, and then turned around and fought 21 days later and defended it against Brendan Moreno in an absolute classic. So, our first Male Fighter of the Year candidate is Devison Figueiredo.
So our number 2 nominee for Male Fighter of the Year is Israel Adesanya, 2-0, defended his title. The first fight, little lackluster against Romero, but he pulled it out. And then he pretty much picked apart very artfully Paulo Costa and give him a little hump and a little bit of a windmill. And then that was it for the year.
Yeah. Dude, and then he called
a hump
out,
and a windmill.
Right. And he went 2-0, like you said, against 2 Terminators, and then called out John Jones and the 205 champ, and now he's getting a shot at the 205 title. So
Yep.
Absolutely, he deserves to be in the talks here. Kevin Holland is our next nominee, and Kevin Holland was our breakout fighter of the year, but he's also in the running for our Male Fighter of the Year with a 5-0 2020 campaign, 4 of them being by TKO or knockout. Just the dude is super active. like Sam Alvey just told us, he's probably going to break records with his next fight because he's going to fight 6 times in 9 months or something like that, which is bananas. And he's taking no damage. He's winning every single one of his fights. Kevin Holland is a name to look out for. And I mean, he's in Israel Adesanya's division. And I wonder,
Yep.
I mean, I'm getting a little off subject here, but if Israel goes up and beats Jan Blachowicz, takes that 205 title, next move for him is John Jones, right? It's got to be. Once Israel captures that 205 title, if he does, John Jones. So he holds up the entire middleweight division for the entire year of 2021. I wonder if by the end of 2021, Kevin Holland will be in the conversation for a title
Yeah.
in 185.
Will they hold the title for him at
Yeah.
185 if he decides to go after Jones? I don't know. I feel like he's the type of guy that's too much pride to let that belt go. So he might pop back down, fight to defend, and then move up for Jones.
Right. So
I
the
don't know if
third
he's going to
candidate,
let that belt go.
yeah. Well, circling back to our third candidate is Kevin Holland.
Yep. So number 4 is a man who we've already spoken about. He basically just popped up on Fight Island, wouldn't leave, fought a couple times, and then came back a little while later to take out Mearshot, and that is Khamzat Chimaev. And
Khamzat
you already know.
Chimaev.
You already know. You already know. We've already said
Yeah,
it
we already
many
talked about
a couple times. Third time now.
Yeah. So it's
He's a
funny
beast.
how in this year of pandemic, Fight Island, 2020 dumpster fire, all these categories, you're seeing the same names kind of pop up because these are the guys that stayed active and were willing to fight during
Yep.
all this bullshit. So Kamzat, Kevin Holland, Angela Hill, you see them all over this because and Figueiredo, these guys were willing to go out there and get in the cage, and it didn't matter. Like, and the UFC did a great job. Um, did a great job keeping these guys safe during they minimized the amount of positive tests. It was pretty incredible actually.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really hear about a lot. They pulled this off week after week, month after month, all through the year, and you didn't really hear too many. There was a few onesie twosies here and there, but they did a great job. I mean, there was a bunch of fights and a
Hmm.
bunch of movement from one state to another country back again, and very
They
successful.
basically triangulated their stomping grounds during this pandemic. Went from it was Jacksonville, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, Fight Island, and nowhere else. And they did a great job keeping it 100% safe. Uh, you know, I believe Bob Beauvais is in the chat room saying that we both look like we have dirty faces. Listen, we can't all grow our beard for fucking 5 years in a row when we're sitting in an army uniform every single day of
Yep.
the week.
You gotta
All right,
let it
let's get
grow.
back.
Let
I
it
know.
grow. Let it grow.
I know these guys are
Can't grow my
dying.
beard anymore.
Do they want me to say Kevin Holland? They want me
Hmm.
to say Israel Adesanya.
Hmm.
Fighter only would want me to say Israel Adesanya. And by the way, for those paying attention, our awards are January 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020, not this January 1st, 2019 through July 2020, and then call them the 2020 awards. I like all their choices for winners with that time frame, but I don't
Yep.
understand how they call it the 2020 awards when the time frame started January 1st, 2019. Anyways, back to our winner of the 2020 Male Fighter of the Year. He is the 4-0 in 2020, Devison Figueiredo, your flyweight reigning defending monster champion there. And I don't Kevin Holland gave him a good run, but when he did two straight demolition fights against Joseph Benavidez, who has been a staple of that division for years and years, mopped the floor with him twice. went out there, demolished Alex Perez, and
Yep.
then 21 days later put on one of the best fights the flyweight division has ever seen. Davison Figueiredo is our choice.
And not
Here.
without a little controversy in his own life, not controversy, but he had some issues. His grandfather died, who was like the biggest man in his life, you know, and very important to him. And also the false positive COVID test fiasco that happened too. So he had to deal with all that and still came out with the title.
Yeah, and dude, and to come out 21 days to defend your title 21 days apart from each other two times and be successful. And he had like I don't know, did he have food poisoning the night before or something against the Brandon Moreno fight? That came out afterwards, and I hate when they do that kind of shit because it almost
Yeah.
makes it seem like it almost seems like it's trying to cut down the credibility to Brendan Moreno for the performance that he put on. But afterwards, they were like, yeah, Davison Figueiredo was in the hospital the night before with food poisoning. And then there was a little controversy there about should he have even been able to fight because he wasn't retested for COVID after he left the hospital. He was in a hospital setting and then they didn't retest him for COVID. But either way, he got in the cage, he fought, he won 4 times in the year, and I don't think there's any reason why he shouldn't be the fighter of the year.
Yeah.
Our last fight of our last award is the fight of the year, and we're gonna go through these nominees just for the fuck of it, basically, because I think everybody in the world knows exactly who the hell the winner of the fight of the year is. Our first nominee is Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk at UFC 248, March 7th, 2020. Zhang won that fight by split decision. It could have gone either way. It could have been. It could have easily gone to Joanna. There was an insane amount of damage on both of those women. It will. I mean, it's down in the record books right now. I think anybody that was going to tell you what's the greatest female title fight you've ever seen, it's that one, and it happened
yeah.
in 2020. That's our first one.
All right. Our second fight of the year nominee is Figueiredo versus Moreno, which we just spoke about a little bit when we were talking about Figueiredo for male fighter of the year. 21 days for both fighters. Fight of the night winner, of course. It ended in a majority draw, but if you saw the fight, I mean, these guys battled it out in ridiculous fashion. Like they were just beating the shit out of each other the entire fight. I mean, I was at the edge of my seat. I had no idea. At the end, I thought maybe Moreno edged it out, but because there was the eye poke and the kick to the groin and there was a point taken, it was like, I don't know what's going to happen. 88% of people on Tapology thought that Figueiredo was going to win that fight prior to the fight. That's how
Right.
like lopsided that fight was supposed to be, and 60% of them thought by KO. So neither one of those things happened.
Yeah, the Assassin Baby. I think that's Brendan Moreno's nickname, the
Yep.
Assassin Baby. He gained a big fan base that night, I believe. And yeah, like you said, he was on that same card 21 days earlier. So both of those guys were on 21-day turnaround and put on a hell of a historic fight in the men's flyweight division. The next one, these next 3 are on the docket, and I wanted to put them on there because honestly, people, the only real 2 debatable choices were the 2 that we just mentioned. But these next 3 fights, if you have some time on your hands, you should go check out the next 3 nominees. Our next one it happened at UFC Fight Night Austin, June 27, 2020. Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. Those 2 guys poured it all out in the cage, beat the living shit out of each other. Dan Hooker stood toe-to-toe with Dustin Poirier, who is a top 1 or 2 guy in the world right now, and Dan Hooker planted his flag in that division as one of the toughest guys in the lightweight division. Dustin Poirier won it by decision. by unanimous decision, but it was closer than unanimous decision always makes it sound like it was kind of lopsided, but it was not at all. It was a close fight.
It was a battle.
You know, it was a battle. So that was our third nominee.
Right. It was like 2 rounds to one, but one of the rounds was a little bit. One of the judges had a 48-46. So,
Yeah,
but it was still close. I had it 48-47, but
it
it
was a
was
hell
great.
of a fight. And for anybody who's watching I'm gonna post these nominees and everything on the Facebook group page. So if you want to go back, read what we have on these fighters and whatnot, and like check out these fights. They got my notes got dates and time. I mean dates and events and all that shit. You can look them up and watch them. You'll enjoy them like we did. Yeah, go ahead with the next one, Mike.
All right, so the next one is UFC. It was at UFC Fight Night, Blades versus Volkov, and it was Emmett versus Shane Burgos. This was a back and forth battle. There's a couple of nice shots in there from Emmett. It was kind of close, I thought, until Emmett started laying down the law, and then he took it. He took the fight. But man, that was a good fight, and these guys are really hitting each other pretty damn hard.
I was just gonna say, dude, Shane Burgos, that dude, he showed the world that night that he has an absolute cast iron jaw. That was
Oh,
he was taking shots. Josh Emmett hits hard, and
yes.
he was walking through them, taking them. He was like asking for them.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a beautiful fight, beautiful violence. I loved every second of that fight. And then the last one we have here is our boy Dan Hooker's back on the card here. UFC Fight Night it was UFC Fight Night Hooker Felder, February 23rd, 2020, and it was Dan Hooker versus Paul Felder. Very much like the Dustin Poirier Dan Hooker fight. Those two just ultra violent Muay Thai fighters
Battle.
that battled, and it was a split decision for Dan Hooker that night. So Hooker lands on our nominees twice, and actually went 1-1 in those two fights. I promise anybody that goes out and watches that Dan Hooker Felder, Dan Hooker Poirier fight, you will be a big Dan Hooker fan after that. With all that being said, we had a couple honorable mentions. John Jones versus Dominic Reyes, believe it or not, actually took place in 2020. It seems like it happened fucking 3 years ago.
It was in February,
then,
right? Was that in February? Yeah.
It was February, yep. It was in February. It was UFC 247. And then the last one was UFC 249, Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. That was a super lopsided fight. Justin Gaethje just absolutely whooped Tony Ferguson's ass, but the entertainment factor of that fight was, top notch. Like,
Yes.
even though Tony Ferguson was getting his ass handed to him in a way that nobody's ever seen Tony Ferguson get his ass handed to him, Tony Ferguson's Tony Ferguson. So, like, at any point in the fight, we were like, is he going to ankle pick this dude and, submit him with a knee bar or something? Like,
Yeah. At any
Tony's
moment.
crazy. Right. But all that being said, the winner of the fight of the year, without question, 1,000% goes to the greatest female title fight you'll ever see to date. I mean, we're still this sport's going to be around forever, but up to this point right now, Zhang Weili defeating Joanna Jędrzejczyk via split decision at UFC 248. It was absolutely incredible. And if you haven't seen it yet, you guys have to get on. I mean, I'm sure it's on ESPN Plus. I'm sure it's on Fight Pass. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Go on there, watch the amount of damage these two girls put on each other, and prepare yourself to see Joanna Jędrzejczyk's forehead.
Yeah, these two combined for 351 significant strikes, which is third most in a fight all time for UFC, men and women. And they had a combined strike count of 783 attempts. So, strike attempts, 783 strike attempts. So, they fought in a phone booth. Joanna's face was not recognizable afterwards. I mean, her forehead was gigantic. There was plenty of memes that came up.
Yeah, there was all kinds of like real mean memes coming out of like her looking like Megamind.
Yeah.
And it was, I had never seen it. Like, we've seen all the worst injuries throughout our years as fans in the sport. With the hatchet wound in the forehead on Marvin Eastman, I think it was Marvin Eastman, looked like he got hit with a hatchet. The Mark Hominick
Hematoma. Yeah.
hematoma. Yeah, but I mean the leg break of Anderson Silva, which just had it was like
Ugh.
the 7 year
That's the worst for me,
anniversary.
man.
Yeah,
That's the worst one
that
to watch for
that was the
me.
worst break. That was the worst break. I think that was just brutal. But as far as like the visual effect, because they were both still fighting, and Wei was punching her in this big bubbly forehead, and like every
Ugh.
time she would take a shot, you would like your stomach would hurt, and you'd be like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
You just thought
You
it
know,
was gonna explode.
dude, it reminded me of back in the day. I think it was Lennox Lewis versus Hasim Rahman. Does that ring a bell? I don't know if
Hmm.
you're Rahman had a hematoma on his forehead that looked like a bar of soap
Yeah.
had been. It looked like they cut his skin open and stuck a bar of soap up in there, and Lennox Lewis spent the next like 6 rounds jabbing the shit out of that thing, leading with a jab and then fucking throwing hooks to this hematoma. And every time he hit it, it would like ripple, and you're like, this dude's brain's gonna explode.
Yeah.
This guy's gonna die in the ring tonight, but he didn't. But that's how I felt when I was watching Wei Lee smack around that forehead of Joanna. And Joanna's my girl, so I was really upset. I was feeling for her.
Yeah, me too. I know I was texting back and forth with you. I thought that she had one of them, but I don't know if that was just my bias at the time. But so go and watch, if whoever's watching right now, go and look up Joanna 3 days or 4 days later. She made a video. Her entire face is black and blue. The whole thing is just black and blue. From
It was like
cheeks,
out of a horror
forehead, nose,
movie, dude.
everything. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like all settled into her face. It looked like she has a
Right.
mask, like a mask on, like a
It dude, it looked like Ultimate Warrior paint.
yeah,
You
yeah, it's a
remember how the
fucking
Ultimate
weird.
Warrior's paint came down to like a point?
Yep.
This he Oh shit, I just messed my mic up. This part here wasn't bruised on her, but everything else was all the way down to a point here. And then if you want to look that up, go on and look up her like 2 weeks later because it all turned yellow and like she was
Yeah.
jaundiced as fuck.
Yeah.
It was nasty, dude. And she's
Hey,
a
what's
pretty
going on
girl,
there,
man.
Jaundice Lips?
What's on? What's what's
What's going
going
on there,
on there,
Jaundice Lips?
John? The slips, dude, it was amazing. So that does it for our awards, Mike. Looking back on 2020, was it all bad for you, or like when you think 2020, what do you think for
Being
yourself?
annoyed,
Oh
like
yeah,
about everything, like COVID wise. I just feel like every time I have to go out and do something, I'm super annoyed because I hate wearing the mask and I hate the whole COVID. And I just can't wait for it to be over. I want fans. I want to see people's smiling faces. You know what I mean? It's not the same when you go out. I still smile at people and make facial. I'll smile or laugh or do something, and I'm like, they can't even see my face. I think about 2 seconds later, like I just made that face. Nobody can see me. I hate it. I don't like it at
yeah,
all. I'm annoyed all the time. I don't like it.
right. Well,
But the year
when you
wasn't bad for me. I mean, I know a lot of people had a tough year, but I mean, we've been blessed with a good family and friends and life. So
it's the way I
we were
see it too,
fortunate to
man.
have a good year.
Right. I was doing the podcast with Bob Ove, which me and him are going to do a show this Sunday, January 3rd at 5 p.m. The Bove MMA Roundhouse is back together. Um, DMB and Captain America side by side in the studio, like the old times. The pandemic has really put a cramp on our style there, but me and Bob are going to do a show this Sunday. But before the pandemic hit, that was all I was doing. I was just a diehard MMA fan. Me and you would always talk shit and whatever. And we talked about starting a podcast for fucking years now. And then this shit happened. And I was stuck at home. I'm doing all this. And I started doing the Convos with Kyle thing where it was just me and my phone. And then Convos with Kyle led to like inviting people on and talking, and then it got pretty popular, and then all of a sudden Mission Accomplished happened, and you know what? I'm a little, as fucked up as it sounds, I'm a little grateful for the year of 2020 because I've never really spent this much time at my house.
Hmm.
Um,
You get to spend a
uh,
lot of time with your family
yeah,
that you would otherwise
spent
not have had.
I spent
Silver
tons of
lining.
time. Right, silver lining. I spent tons of times with my kids. Um, I became their homeschool teacher for a while, which they loved because I'm a fucking goofball, and I find myself speaking in accents most of the time that I'm teaching my kids. I don't know why I become like an Irish guy or an English guy or like
I was
Australian.
just a British guy for about 2 hours the other night playing Uno, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, that's exactly, man. I always got like an English accent, and I'm always giving them shit. And the thing is, I can't do it right now because I'm not in that zone. But other than that, dude, it's like 2020 sucked in a way, but everyone's got to look at the silver lining and understand that 2021 is about to be fucking better. I have a good feeling about this, and this show is
Yep.
going to go off, and then breaking news. Maybe there'll be a fucking Mike and Mish shooting the ish show coming out maybe sometime soon too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so put that in your pocket and hang on to it, all right? Who won the Uno game, Mike?
Oh, Steph, both nights, my wife. So, oh, and that's who's asking. I see. Yeah. No, of course you would bring that up.
You know what? You got to be humble in victory and defeat. The great
Hmm.
Conor McGregor taught us that, and
That's right.
apparently she hasn't paid much attention to the great
No.
wise words of Conor. So,
Yeah, she
Steph,
has not.
Steph, would you just fucking grow up?
I know.
Jesus,
This is ridiculous. You
ridiculous.
know what I'm gonna do? I'll have to hold her eyes open like Clockwork Orange, and she'll just have to watch how Conor McGregor acts after every victory or defeat and see how great of a guy he is,
Oh man. So hey,
over and over again.
dude. So before we end this, and we gotta end this. We've been on for an hour and 20 minutes now,
I
and
know.
I gotta
I'm
put the
sick and
kids to
tired of
bed.
listening to us.
Yeah. I could do this fucking all night, dude. But Connor Poirier coming up January 23rd. Who you got and how?
Ooh. Okay, so obviously, we know that Conor McGregor won within a round while Kyle was at the hospital waiting for his son. And I watched it in his living room and had to send him clips of it.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor wins again by TKO in the third round.
Mystic Mike has spoken.
Mystic Mike. Because I feel as though that Poirier is better, but I also feel like if you watch the Hooker fight, he's got zero defense when he starts trading hands with some people. And I feel like he's going to want to get this one back and just start swinging for the fences. And Conor is way too precise and fast for that. He's not going to play
Yeah.
that game.
And Connor looks like he's about as sharp and as strong as he's ever been too, in all
Mm-hmm.
the training videos and whatnot. And last one before we close this out: Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar. What happens there?
Ooh, Max Holloway. I would have said Max Holloway if this were to be maybe I'll say like a year and a half ago, or. But I think that Kattar, our hometown guy, is going to
Yeah,
take this
dude.
one to the bank by decision.
Really? I absolutely love what I think they're calling themselves the New England Cartel. Is that what they're calling them, or is it the Boston Cartel?
I don't know.
Whatever it is, Calvin Kattar is nasty. He might be the best boxer in that division, just pure boxer. And Max is not one to shy away from a good scrap. So get ready for Calvin Kattar and Max Holloway pointing at the middle of the ring when the
Mm-hmm.
final seconds are on and them two slugging it out. And
Yep.
I don't know who's gonna win that one. My heart wants to go with Calvin, but Max is also the greatest of, one of the greatest featherweights of all time. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then the third one I was gonna ask you was Khamzat versus Leon Edwards, but they took that away from us again. The
Sayonara.
Hamzat, the New England Cartel Facebook user with name unknown Says New England Cartel. Yeah, that's a great name, by the way, for their team. It's fucking awesome.
Yep.
This Hamzat Chimaev, Leon Edwards. This is the third time they tried to make this fight in like under a year. In like under 3 months, they
It's
tried
the
to
new
make this.
Ferguson Khabib.
Exactly where I was going with it. It's the new Tony Khabib, dude. That's never gonna happen. So,
Hmm.
kiss it goodbye. Um, who is the heavyweight champion when 2021 ends?
Is this John Jones fighting heavyweight or
I don't know. I'm asking
it's
you. I'm asking the almighty Michael Hunold. Who is the heavyweight champion at the end of 2021?
Stipe Miocic?
Stipe Miocic. It's
Hmm.
between Stipe Ngannou and John Jones for me, and I'm just gonna go ahead on December 30th, 2020. I am saying that Francis Ngannou will be the champion at the end of 2021. And very last question. I swear to God, we gotta get going. Amy's gonna kill me. Who is the lightweight champion at the end of 2021?
Oh God, I don't know. What do you think?
Conor McGregor. And I'll tell you why. He's gonna beat Dustin Poirier. If they don't slap the belt on him that night, they will make a title fight for him next. He will fight one more time in 2021, probably in like July. And whoever he fights that's not named Khabib Nurmagomedov is
Hmm.
going to lose to him, and he will take that title to 2022.
That's the tough thing. I don't know where that belt is going right now. Where's it going?
It's
I
weird
have no
that
idea.
Khabib came out the other day and said that the winner of that fight's getting my belt, where Dana White said the winner of that fight's not getting the belt. So who's right, the president or the champion? So it's weird that that's happening.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea where that belt's going.
Yeah. All right, brother, man. Awesome show. Thank you for coming on and
Yeah, thanks for having
starting the
me on.
show with me, ending the show with me. And 2021 is going to be big, big, big for us and everyone around us. So I'm going to let you go so I can go put my kids to bed so Amy doesn't kill me in my sleep tonight. You want to say any final words before you get out of here?
Hey, everybody, it's been a great year. Happy New Year, and just stay safe, enjoy your family, and I'll see you on the next Mission Accomplished.
All right, brother. Happy New Year. Tell the fam tell your Stephanie that I said Happy New Year's.
We'll tell my Stephanie.
All right, buddy. Later. All right, that closes out the year for 2020. The mission accomplished. First 9 episodes has been really eye-opening for me. I appreciate all the support that I'm getting from everybody that's tuning into the show, sharing the show, enjoying what they're seeing. As you all know, I don't have any professional training in this. I didn't go to any kind of school for broadcasting or any of that shit. Here's what I got. I just watched a lot of fights. I wrestled. I've been learning some jujitsu. Uh, so I'm like diehard into the sport, and I can fucking talk. And and my ankle just cracked sitting still. If you guys heard that, I don't know. I bet you can hear that. So with that said, I'm thankful for 2020. As shitty as it was, I'm very thankful for this year. I love my family. I've been around them a lot, and I managed to start this show that's a new passion project of mine, and I'm not going to stop. It's going to be 2021 is going to be the shit. By the end of 2021, Mission Accomplished is going to be on another level, and I promise that. With that being said, Happy New Year's to everybody out there. With yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else to say. Love you all. Peace.